Hi. So I just celebrated my 25th year anniversary, and I wanted to share a few pointers on marriage. And this is not from a place of, but it's rather a point of humility where I can just share some of my own experiences and some of the tips, and maybe I'll look at the Bible as well and determine what the scriptures actually say about marriage. What the Bible doesn't do is prescribe behaviors within a marriage. These are mostly or normally determined by society. So the way we deem marriage now very much depends on what or how we grew up, the traditions that accompany the marriage ceremony, as well as the marriage as well as the culture we come from, and just generally how society dictates the law. What the law determines is a legal marriage. So that's what determines what we view marriage now. But I wanted to look at it from the point of the Bible, the scriptures itself. We have what I would deem a foundational principles for any marriage. This is from a scriptural point of view, and that's what I wanted to look at today, and a kind of determine or give an understanding of what marriage really is. So the first time love for a wife is actually mentioned in the Bible is in Genesis 24. So it's not the account of Adam and Eve, it's not the account of Abraham and Sarah, and none of those accounts actually mention love in a marriage. Now, I'm not saying love should not be a part and parcel of a marriage, but it seems that these fathers in the faith promoted a different kind of behaviors within that union of marriage. And what was vital to these fathers in the faith were three things, and that was loyalty, commitment, and respect. Those seem to be the basic principles that drive the marriages that are shown in the scriptures, or at least the first few marriages. I can say that confidently because all these marriages, at least for Abraham and Adam inclusive, are arranged marriages. These were people who didn't know each other from Adam, but then grew to love each other. So what I'm saying is that love grows. The Bible tells us that love is not so much an emotional thing. It's not so much how you feel, but rather it's the things you do. 1 Corinthians 13, it tells you the attributes of love. Love grows in a relationship. Love should never be the glue to a relationship. And I know how weird that sounds, but there are principles, founding principles, that determine how long or how far this marriage are. Loyalty, commitment, and respect should be the foundation of any marriage. A man had cracks in his bedroom, and he called a builder to come and fix this crack. So the builder comes in, obviously scrapes off the paint, gets the plastering down, fills up this crack, and then fixes the crack. And 2 months later, the cracks begin to show in the wall again. So this man would call this builder again and tell him, angrily, and tell him that there's cracks in the wall again. So this builder obviously would be happy to fix that, does the work again and paints over and everything, and the crack's gone again. Then a few months later down the line, these cracks, I emphasize cracks now, these are plural now, begin to reappear. So this man determines that he will not be getting this builder he had initially and gets a new builder. So the builder comes in, inspects the cracks, and tells the house owner that he couldn't fix the cracks. He says, you don't have problems with cracks, which this man is looking at. He says, clearly there's cracks here. But what he then tells him, he says, you don't have a crack problem. What you have is a foundation problem, a sliding foundation. And that's the problem we seem to have in society now. It's not necessarily us fixing all these superficial issues with the marriages or the relationships that we have. It's actually looking at the foundation of our marriages. So I submit to you that if we can look at the foundation of relationships in society and push that as an agenda, then we probably would fix all these cracks before they begin to show up, or reinforce our foundation so that at least we know what really marriage should be all about. So I've already explained that foundational principles for any marriage is those three aspects, which was respect, loyalty, and commitment. But at the center of every marriage should be God. In the book of Genesis, Adam himself will tell God, it's this woman that you gave me. And you can see that God was the central theme in that particular relationship. So apart from the fact that love grows, and it's not the glue or the gelling factor in any marriage, it grows. The New Testament is very clear that men should love their wives, and wives should submit to their husband. And submission is not being dominated. Actually, if you look at the book of Genesis, you find that Sarah was very, very vocal and very, very influential in Abraham's life. But the Bible determines in the book of First Peter that she was obedient and she called him Lord. So she submitted to someone who had foresight and insight, a man of leadership, a man of vision. And that's what determines submission, when the husband is a visionary. The foundational principles of any relationship are based on loyalty, commitment, and respect. And in every relationship, love can grow. So if we can push aside these notions of falling in love, infatuations, and then make conscious choices to love our partners, then most of these issues that we seem to have in our relationships or in our society will disappear. So again, I'm not undermining the issues of a marriage. Marriage is a very complicated thing. The Bible tells us clearly that God created a helpmeet for Adam, which there talks about compatibility. It talks about oneness. That means you have to be compatible with your partner before you can pursue what God determines for that particular marriage or union. At the end of the day, I'm aware that marriage in our context, in the society we live in, is very difficult because behaviors in marriages are mostly determined by Hollywood and the radio and books and romantic novels, and our notion or our thoughts on marriage stem from that kind of atmosphere. I'm not undermining love. I'm just saying that there are things that should be foundational in any marriage, and love does and can grow. Anyway, I hope that makes sense, and God bless you. I'll talk to you soon.